Did you see Ruto sitting on the US president's
Nimetolewa mbali na Mungu.
When I saw that, I was like, Kuku Kimi. Man bloody sat on the chair and he had a smile on his face.
You know how Beyonce has the beehives? Ruto is like, he's like a stand for Europeans, you know, for white men. He was sitting in that chair like a 2-year-old on a field trip, like, you know, he was just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, are you excited because Joe Biden put his hand on your shoulder? This is the man you think that we should rationalize with.
The first time I saw that picture, I was like, oh, it was synonymous to a child playing, Daddy, see me, see my chair. Was sitting on Daddy's chair. I was like, that's what I saw. I'm like, he was smiling so sheepishly. I was like, guy, you don't know.
He was smiling from ear to ear. I'm like, you look stupid. Stand the fuck up.
They don't sell us now.
For me, I'm like, imagine, right? Just imagine walking in, you're visiting, right? He's showing you like, this is the Oval Office. Like, we've taken the tour of the White House in DC many times, and they will ask you if they're not, you know, if the president's not in there, like, do you want to take a picture and things like that. I took a picture when I was like in the 3rd grade. I was a kid. No, I was like in 6th grade. We were kids, and I don't really care for it. However, imagine him seeing a chair, a regular leather chair. It is not fancy. It is nothing, okay? A regular leather chair with the table. Like, what did he do? Did he turn around and look at Joe and be like, can I sit in there?
I wondered that. So I was like, how did they get there? Did he ask?
That's what ran into my head. That this is
So guys, you can see the individual here. That is the Kenyan president on the first state visit to the United States of an African head of state in 16 years. He was invited to the White House, I think it was a week ago. Now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm just going to ask you guys to look at this image. That is Joey over there. That's Joe Biden, President of America. This is the Oval Office, and this is the president. Not an ambassador or anything. I'm not talking about an ambassador or a minister or something. The president of Kenya. I'm not going to get into his speech that he had at the White House pre this and things that he said pertaining to the idea that he was looking for deeper relationships with the US and for them to imploring them to open up trade deals with Kenya and speaking on behalf of Africa, as if, you know, we gave him permission to speak on behalf of all of us in Africa. But that being said, look at this image. Now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to show you another image of what tends to happen when certain folks go to the White House. You see this image here? This is what tends to happen when kids go to the White House. They get to sit in the Oval Office. They sit in the president's chair. The president looks down on them and, you know, says nice things and they smile for the camera and so forth. But I'm not saying anything. I never said a thing.
Because people don't say they usually have a couch, you know, when the president has guests. It's like a couch, and they're probably in like a different room to sit there and have conversation. I'm just like, did he ask? He really did ask. Or he probably looked at him and like, would you like to sit in? Because it's like when you have a child and you take them and then you see something that you know they're gonna like. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put a quarter in here and this bike, and then
yeah. Oh man, they always they keep embarrassing us everywhere they go. Like, I'm like, what are you doing on that chair? Like, what do you think you're doing there? But I understand, because the mentality that most of the present what they call it, presidents we have in Africa is the colonial concept, the colonial mentality, where they still want their master to look at them. They still want to please their master as best as they can. Yeah. They have a colonial brain. They don't think. They are not deconstructed. These are the people who were there when colonization happened. If you trace everything that happened, you could see their effect. You see everything. Even the guy that is on the seat in Nigeria, is one of them.
So let me just get this straight. So a couple of weeks ago, we have Kamala Harris shaking hands with President Ruto of Kenya. Then you have the state dinner with Biden here in the United States. Then that president goes back to Kenya, creates legislation to tax the Kenyan people up to 36%. It's up to a 36% increase in order for them to pay the IMF. And a part of that legislation is also saying that they could appropriate land. They could take land from the Kenyan people as pretty much like a payment to the IMF. Like, that's embarrassing. Because, and on top of that, there was actual congressional leaders from the United States that were there while this was being passed. And now there's riots and multiple people have died. Dozens of people have been harmed and hurt, tear gassed, all for a recolonization project that the United States just facilitated and had President Ruto, who is a sellout to his people, carry out. They must know they're gonna lose in November, because do y'all know social media exists? Oh yeah, y'all know, because y'all wanted to be banned.
I really wanted to start this video by talking about, the whole thing with President Ruto sitting on that chair in the Oval Office, because I think that particular situation, as it went down and as we see, really shows us exactly where the mind of President Ruto is at. I mean, given how he's basically in bed with the US government, it is crazy with everything that government is doing. It's crazy that any sane person will want to be in cohorts with them. It really shows you where they stand psychologically and morally, in my humble opinion. But I really want to start this video, this conversation, setting that tone so everybody can see exactly what kind of man Ruto is. He doesn't care about his people. He doesn't care about the continent. He's a sellout. He's a puppet. And right now, his masters are pulling on his strings, and he's basically doing what his masters want him to do. He's a yes sir boy, and he's yes sign away. And that is why what is presently happening in Kenya with the finance bill and the protest that's going on there, that's hurt a good number of people, that's why all of that is going down, because this puppet is puppeting away. And I want to give a very big shout out to my Kenyan brothers and sisters, because they have been very resilient and unapologetic about what they want. They have stood 10 toes down on business, and the rest of us across the continent are very much behind what our brothers and sisters in Kenya are doing, what they are fighting for. We would continue to wish them the best, and of course draw inspiration from what they are doing right now. As a Nigerian, personally, we could do with some protesting in this country, because each is going to hell at this point. The other day here, I bought 6 to 8 seeds of tomato for 1,500 naira. When I tell you, I almost lost my African mind, because that is insane. How did we get here? How are we not protesting? And that is just tomato. Don't get me started on the price of pepper and onion and health sanitary pad, and let's not even talk about the price of baby food or even transportation. It's difficult to get around these days because everything is so freaking expensive. Living is expensive. The cost of living is about to kill the living over here. Talking about the protest in Kenya, I'm sure some of you might have heard about this police officer guy who wanted to throw a tear gas canister at peaceful protesters, and he got both his forearms obliterated by the canister. Talk about like instant karma, right? I think I want to go live tomorrow so we can, you know, talk about this issue a little bit and talk about this guy. And I think I'll be doing that tomorrow because it's crazy, really. We do need to start talking about these people that we have parts of us that really don't know whose side they are supposed to be fighting for. And this police officer is one of them, because how can you, a police officer, an everyday person, I mean, you are a man in uniform, but still at the end of the day, you are an everyday Kenyan person. And this protest, what the Kenyan people are fighting for, you are going to benefit from it, right? They are fighting for your rights as well. So for you to not be able to click in on it as a Kenyan person, to understand that you are going to benefit from what these people are doing, and then you choose to turn against them and hell want to harm them in the process. Talk about fighting against your own interests. Like, that's something I want us to converse tomorrow. I'm going to make sure I schedule it, you know, in the morning tomorrow, so it's up hours before the actual live, so you guys can, you know the time when the live is going to kick off and join in, so we can have these conversations, really, because as a people we really do need to, you know exactly where we are supposed to be standing regardless of whatever situation, so we don't start making crazy decisions that is going to come bite us in the behind later, you know, taking stupid sides that is not going to be of benefits to us as a people. So yeah, like at this point, let me just, you know, keep quiet, because if I don't stop myself now, just keep on going. So, you know, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Let's continue this conversation down below in the comment section. And of course, as always, I would be catching you guys tomorrow during the live. Do have a very lovely day. Bye.